In the year 2000, two men walked into Blockbuster's headquarters in Dallas, Texas. They had a proposal. They wanted to sell their little DVD by mail startup, a company losing money, barely 300,000 subscribers, for just $50 million. That startup was Netflix. Today, Netflix is worth over $300 billion. And Blockbuster, every single one of its 9,000 stores is gone, except one. A single location in Bend, Oregon, kept alive purely as a tourist attraction. So how does a company with $6 billion in revenue, 84,000 employees, and complete dominance of an entire industry manage to destroy itself in less than a decade? The answer is not just about Netflix. It is about one of the most expensive mistakes in business history, and the financial lessons hidden inside it could change the way you think about money, competition, and risk forever. Let's go back to where this story really begins. 1985, Dallas, Texas. A man named David Cook opens the first Blockbuster video store. The concept was simple, but revolutionary for its time. A massive, brightly lit, perfectly organized video rental store. Nothing like the small, dim video shops that existed before. The idea worked immediately. Within 2 years, Blockbuster had dozens of stores, then hundreds, then thousands. Wayne Huizenga, who acquired the company in 1987, was opening a new Blockbuster store every 17 hours. Every 17 hours. At the absolute peak of the company in 2004, Blockbuster had 9,100 stores worldwide, 84,300 employees, and $6 billion in annual revenue. Every Friday night in America, families drove to Blockbuster. It was a ritual. It was culture. It felt completely unstoppable. In 1994, media giant Viacom bought the company for $8.4 billion, believing it was the crown jewel of home entertainment. Nobody thought this company could fail. That confidence, it turns out, was the beginning of the end. To understand how Blockbuster fell, you need to understand one number: $800 million. That is how much money Blockbuster made every single year, from late fees. Every time you forgot to return a movie on time, Blockbuster charged you. And not just a little. These fees were aggressive, humiliating, and unavoidable, because there was nowhere else to go. Late fees were 16% of Blockbuster's entire revenue. The company was, in a very real sense, built on customer frustration. Customers hated it, but they kept coming back, until they didn't. 1997. A software executive named Reed Hastings returns a VHS copy of Apollo 13 to his local Blockbuster. 6 weeks late. The late fee? $40. Hastings was furious. But instead of simply complaining, he had an idea. What if you could rent movies, with no late fees, no due dates, no driving to a store, delivered directly to your door? That year, he co-founded Netflix. The model was elegant. Pay a flat monthly fee, get DVDs mailed to your home, return them whenever you want. No penalties, no deadlines, no frustration. By the year 2000, Netflix had around 300,000 subscribers and was still losing money. They were small, they were vulnerable. And that is when they walked into Blockbuster's headquarters with a proposal. $50 million. That was the asking price. For context, Blockbuster was generating $6 billion a year. $50 million was less than 1% of their annual revenue. It was pocket change. The Blockbuster executives listened, looked at the numbers. A money-losing startup. 300,000 subscribers. They passed. According to multiple accounts, Netflix co-founder Mark Randolph later described leaving that meeting as being, and I quote, laughed out of the room. It was the most expensive laugh in business history. Here is where the story gets brutal. Between 2000 and 2010, Blockbuster made a series of decisions that, looking back, seem almost impossible to believe. Mistake number 1, ignoring the internet. By 2000, it was becoming clear that digital distribution was the future. Music was already being disrupted. Napster had 80 million users. Blockbuster's response? They signed a deal with Enron, yes, that Enron, to build a streaming service. The deal collapsed when Enron imploded in scandal. Blockbuster walked away from streaming and doubled down on physical stores. Netflix, meanwhile, quietly kept building. Mistake number 2, the late fee disaster. By 2005, Blockbuster finally admitted that late fees were destroying customer relationships. Under new leadership, they eliminated them. The move cost Blockbuster $400 million in revenue, almost overnight. The financial hole was too deep to recover from. Mistake number 3, the debt trap. When Viacom spun Blockbuster off as an independent company in 2004, they loaded it with over $1 billion in debt. Every dollar that should have gone to innovation and digital transition was instead going to service that debt. Netflix had no such burden. They were lean, hungry, and moving fast. Mistake number 4, the red box blind side. While Blockbuster was fighting Netflix, a new threat appeared from a completely different direction: Redbox. Simple red kiosks in Walmart parking lots. Rent a DVD for $1. No membership, no late fees, no hassle. Blockbuster was now being attacked on 2 fronts simultaneously: Netflix from above, Redbox from below. By 2007, Netflix had 6.3 million subscribers. In that same year, Blockbuster lost 500,000 subscribers in a single quarter. Their stock, which had once traded above $30 per share, was collapsing. By January 2010, Blockbuster shares were down 91% from their peak. In September 2010, with $1.1 billion in losses and a company value of just $24 million, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. $8.4 billion to $24 million in less than 2 decades. Today, there is exactly one Blockbuster store left on Earth, in Bend, Oregon. People drive from across the country to photograph it. Not to rent movies, but to see a relic of a world that no longer exists. So what do we actually take away from this? Because this is not just a story about a video rental company. This is a masterclass in how businesses and people fail. Lesson 1. Your biggest revenue stream can be your biggest blind spot. Late fees were generating $800 million a year. That money was so reliable, so consistent, that nobody wanted to question it. But customers hated every single cent of it. The moment an alternative appeared, one without late fees, customers left immediately. Ask yourself, what parts of your income or business do your customers tolerate rather than love? Those are the cracks where competitors will enter first. Lesson 2. Arrogance is the most expensive business strategy. Blockbuster had every advantage: more money, more stores, more brand recognition, more customers. They could have bought Netflix for $50 million, less than 1% of their annual revenue. Instead, they laughed. The executives who laughed Netflix out of that room were not stupid people. They were overconfident people. And in business, and in personal finance, overconfidence is almost always fatal. Lesson 3. Debt kills flexibility. When Viacom loaded Blockbuster with $1 billion in debt, they did not just take their money. They took Blockbuster's ability to adapt. Every crisis, whether it is a business disruption or a personal financial emergency, requires cash to respond. Blockbuster had none to spare. Whether it is a company or your personal finances, debt does not just cost you interest, it costs you options. And in an uncertain world, options are everything. Lesson 4. The threat that kills you is almost never the one you are watching. Blockbuster watched other video rental chains. They never saw Netflix coming. They never saw Redbox coming. They never saw streaming coming. The companies and people who survive disruption are not the ones who predicted the future perfectly. They are the ones who stayed humble enough to keep asking the question, what are we not seeing right now? Netflix, by the way, did not stop at DVDs. In 2007, they launched streaming. Today, they have over 260 million subscribers in 190 countries, generating more than $33 billion in annual revenue. Reed Hastings, the man who was laughed out of a room for asking $50 million, built a company worth $300 billion. The last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon, still rents DVDs. More people visit it as a museum piece than ever rented from it as a business. The story of Blockbuster and Netflix is not really about streaming versus physical stores. It is about what happens when a company, or a person, becomes so successful, so certain of themselves, that they stop being able to see the world changing around them. That trap does not just catch billion-dollar companies. It catches people too. If you found this valuable, subscribe to Founders and Fortunes. Because every week we break down the biggest business stories in history and extract the financial lessons that textbooks never teach you. Next week, the money behind McDonald's, and why the world's most famous burger company is actually one of the largest real estate empires on Earth. I'll see you there.